One of the most common places to find Easter eggs at theme parks are in the windows. Whether it's little nods to former attractions, credits to those that helped create the park, or even touching tributes, there may be something worth noticing along each pathway. Here are 10 things to spot in and on the windows around Universal Studios Florida. To the right of the marquee for Race Through New York starring Jimmy Fallon are 2 windows themed as newspaper offices. Since this attraction replaced Twister Ride It Out, you can actually spot a few nods, including this advert for a fictional Twister Cola, and a shirt that looks like the one that Bill Paxton was wearing in the pre-show for the former attraction. There used to be a stapler that said B. Paxton on it, but it was later swapped out for a plain one. Other fun nods to things around the park can be found on the newspapers hanging up, including its slogan, a newspaper with universal values. There are ads for some of the fake businesses you can find nearby, including Bull's Gym, which features Bullwinkle as its logo, and the Regal Cafe, a facade across from Revenge of the Mummy. There's a story about the World Expo debuting, which is where the Universe in You exhibit from Men in Black Alien Attack comes from. And finally, there's a mention of paranormal investigators, a reference to this location's original tenant, the Ghostbusters. The special effects-filled Ghostbusters Spooktacular show opened with Universal Studios Florida in 1990, but it closed in 1996 and was replaced with Twister Ride It Out. The Ghostbusters show's entrance was through the iconic firehouse, and even though the attraction was removed, this structure has remained. A small tribute to the former attraction, a window for a paranormal travel agent, was added. Between the Fallon entrance and the firehouse building is the facade for the Metropolis Tribune. Most of the windows here have the names of people that helped design and build Universal Studios Florida, including Charlie Gundecker, the Senior Vice President of Attractions Development, and Mark Woodbury, the head of Universal Creative. Just like the windows of Main Street USA at Disney parks, the windows all around the New York backlot area feature the names of real people. 2 of the company's most important names can be found above Finnegan's Bar and Grill, Sidney Sheinberg and Lou Wasserman. Sidney Sheinberg served as the head of Universal Studios for over 20 years and was responsible for important moves in the industry, like hiring Steven Spielberg to direct the movie Jaws. Lou Wasserman was one of the most important figures in film history, with a career spanning across 9 decades. A statue of him can even be found nearby in front of Louis' Italian restaurant. In 2016, a few months after the horrific incident at the Pulse nightclub in Orlando, Universal installed this special window on their Pantages Theater building. The window honors the names of 6 of the 49 victims, those that had worked at the resort, along with the words, "Carrying messages of peace, love, and hope to the stars." The company also donated $1 million to the One Orlando Fund. More recently, another tribute was added to this theater. This window commemorates the life and achievements of Blaine Kern Sr., also known as Mr. Mardi Gras. Kern, along with his company Kern Studios, built Mardi Gras floats, not only for the Universal Orlando Mardi Gras parades, but also for the real events in New Orleans. He passed away in 2020 at the age of 93. There's plenty of interesting things in the windows along this street where the Blues Brothers perform. At the end closest to the Transformers ride, there's a facade for Adrian's Pet Shop. In addition to the dog and cat supplies, you can also find this shelf of fish tank decorations, including one shaped like a pineapple under the sea. As we talked about in a previous Easter eggs video, you can get your photo taken with Gary the Snail inside of SpongeBob's pineapple-shaped home near E.T. Adventure. But if you know where to look, this little nod to the character is hiding in the corner of New York. To the left of the pet shop on the same street, there's a second-story window which reads Boris Schuster, Private Investigations. Fans of Halloween Horror Nights know that this character was first introduced in 2008's Reflections of Fear haunted house. In the backstory of the house, Boris was investigating the crimes of Bloody Mary. Despite first appearing at the event in 2008, the window already featured his name before being incorporated into the lore of Halloween Horror Nights. While only a small side character, Boris has gained notoriety in recent years, and you can even find shirts inspired by his window for sale online. When Diagon Alley took over the area where the Jaws ride once stood, they utilized props from the former attraction's queue for the new area. One of these little nods can be spotted in the window for Mr. Molepepper's apothecary near the ice cream parlor. There's a set of shark jaws with teeth hiding behind some of the pots of herbs and spices. Outside of Diagon, along the London waterfront, there's a more intentional homage to the former ride. The record shop features an album in the window called Here's to Swimmin' with Bow-Legged Women, an allusion to a line from the Jaws film.
Here's to swimming with bow-legged women.
And the band is named the Quint Trio, likely after Quint, Hooper, and Chief Brody. Next door to the record shop in the London area is a bookstore facade. While the windows are filled with fake books, many of them labeled as classic stories, most likely as they're in the public domain, there are a couple grouped together behind this sign in the corner that caught my eye. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and The Wind in the Willows are sitting on the shelf together. And while it could be coincidence, it is interesting because both of these stories used to have their own Fantasyland attractions at the Magic Kingdom in Walt Disney World. There was the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea submarine voyage, which closed in 1994, and Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, which was based on Walt Disney's 1949 film adaptation of The Wind in the Willows, which closed in 1998. One last thing to spot around this area, you may have heard that you can find Creature the house elf in the window above the door to 12 Grimmauld Place. Every minute or so, he will reach his hand out and pull back the curtains to take a look outside. I have heard people say that you have to knock to make him appear, but that is definitely not the case. He seems to just show up randomly, which in my mind is even creepier. If you'd like to bring a bit of the parks home, you can now get the Butterbeer scented candle from Souvenir Scents in a candle tin or a wax melt. Plus, new scents, like one based on the ET queue and more, have been released. Use promo code PARKSTOP10 to save 10% off your order at souvenirscents.com. That's all for now, but let me know what type of Easter eggs at the parks you'd like to hear about next. And check out the Hidden Things playlist for more videos like this. If you like what we do, consider joining our Patreon for early rumors and exclusive content. Thanks for watching. See you next time.